Hey guys, welcome to this tutorial. In the last tutorial, we talked about lists in Python. If you have not watched our tutorial on lists, I would highly recommend you to go and watch it so you get to understand these sequence types more better. So here, we are going to talk about tuples, and tuples are they are simply sequence data types just like lists in Python. And if you can remember, to create a list in Python, we simply use square brackets. But in the case of tuples, to create a tuple, you simply use parentheses, that is the normal bracket. So that is the way to tell Python that this is a tuple. The Python interpreter, that is the way to tell it that this is a tuple. So there are two ways by which you can create a tuple. You can simply just put your values in a bracket, or you use the Python inbuilt function called tuple to create a tuple by using, you just call the function and then you pass a list of your values in it. So in these two cases, let's see what the output is going to be. So I would print this. So in this course code 1, you see I just created the tuple normally using the parentheses, and in this second tuple that I named my tuple, I used the Python function. So if I print this out, you see we have the first tuple, my course code, and the second one, my tuple. So both would work just fine. So it depends on what you want. So usually when you're working with a program and you do not want other programmers to tamper with your values, instead of using a list that can be changed, you can simply use a tuple, because the values of a tuple cannot be changed. That is the major difference between a tuple and a list. They are immutable. So once you create a tuple, you get stuck with that tuple forever. Unless you delete it, you cannot remove, add, or manipulate the elements. So let's look at some functions that you can perform on your tuple. You can check the length of your tuple by using the len function, and this gives 4. So when you look at my tuple, you see that it has 4 elements. So you can also, the same way we can access the index of list, we can also access index of tuples as well. So if I say my tuple, print my tuple of index of 0, remember I told you indexing in Python starts from 0. So in this case, our 0 would be index of would be bread, and the index of 1 would be burger, then 1 and 2 and 3 respectively. So if I print this out now, it will return bread. So you can also access more than one, like 0 to 3. Remember I told you upper bound is not included, so it will only to start at 0 and stop at 3. So 3 will not get included. So here we have bread, burger, and sandwich. So you can also do negative indexing, -1, which prints out the last item of the tuple. You can do a lot of things with it, so you can just practice this and check for different types of slices of the tuple. So the same thing with your first tuple as well. You can get different values, you can access different values of a tuple. Now let's try to change this value at index 2. Let's look at what the index is. So course code, this tuple course code 1 has of index 2 has the value of 303. Now I want to try to change it to 307. Let's see if that's going to work. So let's execute this cell, and you see we have an error. Tuple object does not support item assignments. So again, a tuple cannot be changed. You cannot change the values of a tuple. You can only change the values of items in a list. So that if you don't want it to give you an error, you can convert it to a list, then you change the values, then you convert it back to a tuple. You can only add 2 tuples together. So let's see here. I've created a second tuple, course code 2, and this has values of 401, 402, 403, and 404. So I'm creating a new tuple, and I'm concatenating these 2 tuples, course code 1 and course code 2. So you can add this together. Let's print it out to see if it worked. So you see we have all courses here. So the only thing you can do is to add 2 tuples together. You cannot change the values of a tuple or append a single value to a tuple, or several other functions that you can perform with a list to change the data types and play with it. You cannot do that with tuples. Once you create it, that is it. You can only delete. You can delete a tuple. So if we delete this tuple now and we try to print it, it will give an error because it will have been deleted. So you see, name cos code 1 is not defined simply because in this line here we have erased it from the Python's memory. So when we are calling it now, there is nothing like that again in the memory, so it will tell you, return an error that it's not defined. So those are the simple functions you can use on your tuples. There are other functions as well, but this is just the basic to get you started. You can play with it and explore more on other functions that you can use for tuples. So that will be all for tuples. Let's quickly go to dictionaries. So as the name implies, dictionaries are data types that have keys and values. In a normal dictionary, we have index of words and then their definition. So in Python, the index of words will be what we refer to as the keys, and the definitions will be the values. So for example, here I created a dictionary. So when you are creating a dictionary in Python, you use the curly brackets. So you see, for lists, you use the square brackets. For tuples, you use the parentheses, the normal brackets. And for dictionaries, you use the curly brackets. So that is the way to tell the Python interpreter that this is a dictionary, this is a Python, this is a list, or this is a tuple. So you take note of these brackets as they imply different meanings. So here I created a dictionary named data, and then I have a name key that has the value of Mariam, and an age key that has the value of 18, and this depth key as well. So there are also two ways, just like in tuples and lists. You can create a dictionary by simply using these curly brackets, or you use the Python inbuilt function called dict. So you can just simply say dict, then in parentheses you put the keys here. You don't put them in quotes. So then you say equal to, then you put the values in quotes. So let's print the two dictionaries, data 1, data, and data 2. So you see here I have name, Mariam, age, this and that respectively, and this for the data 2 as well. So you can use either ways to create your dictionary. So I can access the values of a dictionary by using I can access single values and say okay, my name is, then data, then the value of name in dictionary. So let's see what this is going to. So you see it says my name is Mariam. So here this line I'm saying, you remember the F string in string formatting is used to tell the Python that in this string I want to place a variable. So I'm using this curly bracket as placeholders. Remember placeholders. If you've not watched our previous tutorials, I would highly recommend you to go and watch them so you get this concept better. So this data is a variable, which is my dictionary, and I'm calling the name key in it. So it's going to return data, then the value of the name key, that is Mariam. That is why here you are seeing my name is Mariam printed out. So you can also change the values of a dictionary. So you see, I am saying data age is equal to 19, and formerly it was 18. So now I'm printing the data now. I would get, then you have name, Mariam, age is now 19. Then depth is still biochemistry. So unlike tuples, you can change the values of keys in a dictionary. We can also check for the length of keys in a dictionary. That is by using the len function, and that is 3. We have 3 keys. So you can also remove a key by using the del function, the delete function. So I'm saying delete data, the key depth. So let's see if it has been deleted. So you see, now we have name and age keys. You can also add more keys to a dictionary. You can say data, okay, let me just say faculty is equal to, let's say, science, then data phone number is equal to, this is the number, I can say data email is equal to abc@gmail.com. So you see I created this new keys, faculty, phone number, and email. So let's see if it's going to get incorporated in our dictionary. So let me print data so you can see. I'm supposed to put this in strings so that it gets. So you see, so we have our modified dictionary. We have name, Mariam, age 19, faculty, science, phone number, email. So you see, you can add more keys to your dictionary, and then you can also check for keys using the logical operator. Remember we talked about operators in Python. So we can check if faculty is in data. So let's print this out, and you see we have true. So let me see something that will give us false. Let me say gender in data. That will give us false. So there are numerous functions that you can use to change, access, and do different things with your dictionaries, with your data types. So this is just an introduction to get you started and to let you have an idea of how much you can play with these data types, and for you to understand the basic concept when you are developing a major program or you have an assignment or something like that. So that will be all for this session. I hope you have enjoyed it. Please feel free to ask questions in the comment section, and do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel to get updated when I upload new content. Thank you.